what are we going to talk about this week? From the yard, what happened last week, and then maybe talk about something interesting, and then what are we going to do this week? So, since I can't do any screen sharing stoof, which we'll fix, but what happened last time that we did inspections, Philip?
We had 2 deadouts. No, excuse me. We had 2 deadouts in the Shillington yard and 1 deadout in the Nedved yard. Other than that, there were a few of them that looked really good coming out like last week of January. Other than that, nothing else to report.
Yeah, so just real quick on those deadouts. One of them in the Shillington yard had it was almost looked like a mouse in there, right?
Oh yeah,
And then the other one in
mouse
the
and
Shillington yard, if I remember right, the other one I remember was it was what we tagged as a strong hive, and it was just dead.
yeah,
That one I don't know about. The one in the Nedved yard was it was tagged as a small hive. It was one of our carnies from last spring,
right.
but I'm not sure what that big one. That big one is what would be concerning. And what I remember was when you lifted the hive, it had on the lid like some propolis and stuff up there, but there was a lot of water or drips that were dripping back.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
That that's what I remember. And so if it's dripping back in the cluster is in the middle, that water's dripping right back on them. So
Right.
maybe that's something we need to research about condensation hives versus regular hives, because ours isn't really a condensation hive because we do have the hole in the feeder shim to let things out, but
Right.
or let it out. But I know Jimmy had a page in ABJ that was open to that. But
No, it wasn't ABJ. It was the Better Bee catalog.
yeah. So what else is going on? As you can probably hear, we're building boxes, right? CNC's running. We've built or we bought some more boards. Keep playing with it. One of the things that trying to get my arms around is maybe doing dovetail boxes instead of the CNC boxes because they would probably be faster. There's another joint that could be done, but the thing that I was witnessing today was if you do those big boxes like a dovetail or the locking miter, I think it's called, you you really got to be careful with your cuts because like the joint that the joint that we're doing currently on our boxes is the long side is 19.125 versus 19.875 inches, and if you factor that in, it's like if you do the 19.75, you can't get all of everything from those 10-foot boards we bought.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's something I think we got lots of boxes to build, so we'll keep playing with it. Um, yeah. What else has happened here recently? Sold some more hive magnets. That was fun. Derps. All right. Moving into the next topic. Real quick, why are we doing this?
Just
I'll
for
start.
documentation purposes.
Documentation. I think this is a good thing for documentation. The other piece of it that I think it's good for is, if you're going to grow a business, the marketing piece of it is hard to do, and I think getting comfortable with getting in front of a camera and getting on YouTube, getting all that stuff, social media piece. I think that's another reason why this is a good thing to get comfortable with. What about you, Jimmy? Why do you want to do this?
Probably so I can practice for going in front of the camera when I do grow a business, and also so I can also learn about what we've been doing when I'm not at the yard.
Yeah, I think some of it was, with Philip and and I think you've been there a couple times, Jimmy, and I think Tony has too, where we do a little video with 2-3 minute sweep where we just kind of talk about and look at what we've done in each yard. I think it's really good because you can go back and say, okay, how many hives do we got, or even if one thing, Philip, like we were doing with the push pins, the like green and the blue and the reds. If you do a sweep of a video, it gives you an idea, or it lets you go back in your house and say, oh yeah, that hive was bad or this hive was good. You can kind of correlate things later. So any other reasons why we're doing this other than Dad's making you do it? Wah, wah.
No,
All
not for
right.
me.
Did anybody watch any good YouTube videos that they'd like to talk about?
Not relevant to beekeeping.
Beekeeping videos? Oh, Bob Binney had one, or it wasn't. Well, he had a pretty decent one today where he was talking with his two the two main people that go out to his yards, and they were talking about documentation and what they're going to do next year when it comes to all the different queen rearing program they're doing, and they're cutting down yards and things. So that was an interesting one. There's another one with a North Georgia Beekeeping Association where Bob Binney was on it talking about not beekeeping but honey packing, which was interesting as well. Had some interesting numbers with if you're going to pack honey and what size of filtration should you use, what temperatures should you use, and temperatures at times. So I can share those with you guys. But all right, next, Jimmy, you got any good research you did this week?
This week, not specifically, but in the book I was reading, the Dr. Tom Seeley one, it did talk about swarming techniques bees do, like the buzz run, piping. and also how they decide where to go. So that was one thing that they did there.
Well, that's going to be important coming up because what mid May seems like a long ways away, but mid May is going to be when they start swarming, even early May, right, Philip?
Yeah,
That
even late March.
one we got to get our swarm. Well, yeah. I mean, we got to get our. There's speaking of that, it's like we got to build our swarm boxes so we can put swarm traps out. But another thing is, and I haven't talked about it, but um, what do you guys think about doing building? Let me take a step back. So you get on these beekeeping Facebook pages like Quad City Beekeeping and all of them, and they talk about or you see them where they say, oh, there's a swarm at this place, and um, what do you think about it being like kind of a focus of, hey, if we see somebody post on there, uh, be ready to go get a swarm.
Right.
And with that means maybe we bought the generator, and maybe we need to finish out building a BVAC or buy one,
Yeah.
because that's free bees, right? And
Yep.
Philip knows it's like, oh, there's probably a dozen times that we have seen on Facebook where, oh, we got a swarm, and if we could get there before anybody else, then it would be something something to get bees, free bees.
Bees.
All right, so let's wrap up a little bit here. What's coming up this week? What should we do? I know what I have to do. I need to get the tax preps going for the last year that
Oh yeah.
for our business, because it's I probably late with it, but it's been pretty decent. I mean, with the Etsy sales with the beekeeping stuff, we made over $2,000 there, and I haven't quite looked, but we probably got $3,000 or $4,000 in honey sales. So I mean, it's not that's a piece of why we do it, right? To make it so we don't have to pay money, or at least do it so there's money to build for the future. What are you guys doing this week?
Working.
Probably do a bit of research on it.
On what?
Hmm. Probably swarming, and also like how bees regulate their temperature in the winter. That would also be good.
Okay, yeah. One thing we probably need to get a game plan on is what is going to be our Varroa treatment coming up. But what are you doing for beekeeping this week, Philip?
Might be cycling high bodies, depending on the weather. Might go out, might not. Might just go check on some colonies after work.
Got we could start building boxes, right?
Right.
There's some boxes out there. We got the wood to start doing the swarm traps, so maybe that's something you can knock out. Build those. I think there's enough for 10 swarm traps. Those 2 sheets of plywood. that would be one thing to work out, and the other thing is starting to look at building pallets. How many pallets do we need and tops? But I
Right.
think we can wait on those. The other thing to research is how do we paint these damn things?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're gonna paint them with a brush this year. I think we need to get something like electric or air compressed sprayer and spray these things. So,
Right.
all right, let's I'd say let's call this good. Good discussion, good documentation, good start, and then we will let's work on what the agenda is for next week, and then kind of working through. I like the idea of doing the what are we doing in the yard? What did we do in the yard this past week? What's like a topic of discussion, and then what are we doing next week? So I think,
Okay.
and if you guys got any other ideas, but I would like to talk about goals maybe next week. You know, what are think about what kind of goals are we going to do, and maybe even we'll recap a little bit more on what we did this past year because we didn't really talk about that. But and then I do want to. We might try a different system next week because I like to be able to share screen. If I got like a spreadsheet I want to show you, I think that would be good. And I haven't figured out how to do this yet, but maybe that's just for the free one. I don't know. I got another one we might try next week. So
What is it?
I think it's called River something, Riverside.
Hmm.
I think, but I can send you guys info. All right, Dad signing out.
Bye bye.
Are you still on? Everybody still
Yeah.
on? Hey, so don't shut out. It needs to upload.
Yeah. Just like
All right.
leave and
So yeah, and it'll upload.